Morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. It's the Clipper here, reporting again on this cold, chilly Saturday. Slippery. You can ask the parking lot or the cars are smashed up. Yeah, but we're gonna talk about this smash here. Something called declassified information. So declassified information is when a situation, scenario explodes. Maybe not literally, but it explodes between governments. And then everything that was recorded was actually sanctioned and censored.
What evidence do you have to support the idea that there is some propaganda film in the making?
Matt, this is derived from information known to the U.S. government.
Propaganda.
Information that we have declassified. I think you know.
Okay, well, where?
So once again, propaganda. There are other countries outside of the United States that invest millions and billions of dollars of propaganda in other countries, specifically this country. This is the most. This country is the most, has the most, receives the most propaganda. We are the propaganda. So this is done on February 4th. It was late February 4th. You heard what he said. Propaganda and declassified information. So they take important, scary, dangerous elements out of the package of information and they withhold it, and then they tell us, the other bland stuff, what's going on. So he said propaganda of a film, meaning they use the United States soil as a filming ground, as an amusement park, as a battleground, just to film. So they sacrifice each and every one of us. They don't care because it's production. You can get another baby. They're starting to make new human beings underground and in laboratories. They're starting to make androids. They're starting to make half robots. That's people, they starting to put all types of chips and trans effects in human beings. So now we have a whole bunch of information. It's probably thousands of pages. And then he comes out for 15 minutes and he tells you 15 minutes. He tells you about 5 minutes of what's going on. And that makes the reporters pissed. Like this.
Where is it? Where is this information?
It is intelligence information that we have declassified.
Well,
Intelligence information. So the intelligence agency, intelligence center, they have the information. It's their information. From what I heard, the United States of America, the only thing that's granted is freedom. So as you see, I am a reporter right now, and I am pissed off also that he will not go into depth in detail about the scenarios that could happen in the United States of America. Now they're trying to control the masses and not have this paranoia thing kick off, being that it's a pandemic going on. But now it just got worse, and they're secretly telling everybody that the pandemic was orchestrated by other governments because we are in a huge debt with everyone. We are in a huge debt with everyone, and then all of a sudden, when we have a debt, the United States of America, that is, we start to bully and we start to fight and cause a war to avoid paying off the debt. So you see, this is a government official reporting propaganda, and he's having a standoff with a reporter. Now the reporter's 100% right. We need to know something. We about 100 years old. Between them two, maybe the reporter's about 50 or 60. This guy's in his 40s. So let's just add it up. Maybe you know something I don't know, and I know something you don't know. So we're gonna add our ages, and we're gonna make it 100. We're 100 years old together. Nothing has changed for real. All you did was give us a cell phone, the same excuse about a UFO, and nothing else. You didn't give us no proof of religion that sanctioned God a real functional being. You always gave us something that's not there with energy. So we appreciate the spirit, the energy, the spirit. We appreciate the feeling, but there's different feelings that come with spirit. It's fight or flight. It's different confusion. It's self mutilation. It's a whole bunch of stuff. So now 100 years flat, and these white people still won't take it to the next step. Tell us. Be specific. Tell us the details. Who, what, where, and how. Just like you teach us in school, right? When you take us away from the household and then you make us the way you want us to be in society to get a job and live. However, you're withholding information. It's called being declassified, or also known as propaganda. So watch this.
I just delivered it.
No, you didn't.
No, you made a series of allegations.
A series of allegations.
One correction. Alex Jones lies far less and is far more credible than Ned Price is.
Right. And Alex Jones is not in the limelight anymore. Ever since he came out and started talking about this declassified information, he became very blackballed. He started taking it to the outer limits, sneaking into places, stealing information, just going white boy crazy, just having his way.
But you see the point. Ned Price lost that exchange. He claimed to have information that he did not have, and Matt Lee persistently called him out on it. So Ned Price just ran out of BS. The BS barrel was empty. So what did he do then? What did Ned Price do then? You know the answer. Ned Price did what they all do when they're cornered. He went right to the lowest personal attack.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't call Matt Lee racist. He's probably saving that for next week. But he did suggest that Matt Lee is more sympathetic to Russia than he is to his own country, the United States. He implied that Matt Lee is a shill for Vladimir Putin. Watch.
If you doubt the credibility of the U.S. government, of the British government, of other governments, and want to, find solace in information that the Russians are putting out, that is for you to do.
I've been asking what the Russian government is putting out, and what is it supposed to be?
You see?
So if you're on Russia's side, now in an earlier age, this is the point where Matt Lee would have vaulted the podium and punched Ned Price right in the face. There was a time in this country when calling a man disloyal was a grave and serious charge.
Treason.
That's not true anymore. We're so used to it now. We hear it constantly. On Wednesday, 2 days ago, during a closed-door briefing in Congress on Russia, Jim Cooper, a Tennessee Democrat, asked an intelligence briefer to find out if this show is tied to Russia. We're not tied to Russia, of course. It's a cable television program. We're not a diplomatic mission.
Well, yes, you are.
Everybody knows that. But that's not the point. The point is we've criticized the Biden administration's Ukraine policy. So in retaliation for that, Jim Cooper has asked the intel agencies to dig up dirt on us. To be clear, that's not allowed. It's illegal. It is illegal to use the U.S. government to settle partisan scores or to silence opposition journalists. It is also, by the way, illegal to secretly monitor their electronic communications. But Joe Biden's NSA did that to this show this summer. That happened. We're not speculating about it. The NSA admitted it. And Congressman Cooper admitted what he did today when we asked him, though he was too cowardly to come on the show tonight to explain how he could justify that. This is scary behavior. It's also revealing. After a full year of governing, all the Biden administration can muster when challenged are ad hominem attacks and more spying from the intel agencies.
Mm-hmm.
The intel agency's on.
Told you.
What they can't do is...
It's a terrorist attack.
They don't even try. That's not a sign of strength. It's a sign of rot. It's a sign of weakness. And yet they're doing it and they're getting away with it. How are they getting away with it? Very simple. They're getting away with it because Republicans are allowing them to get away with it. Screaming about Russia...
That's the bad part about having two parties, because they're gonna let each other fail for control. So whatever scapegoat or whatever hole that's there, they can let them fall into it. They can help them too.
You thought Republicans would never fall for that again? No, they internalized the whole thing. They now believe that Russia is our greatest enemy. They're the existential threat. All eyes on Putin. They could stop this tomorrow. If Mitch McConnell criticized the build-up to war with Putin, it would end immediately. if 5 Republicans in the United States Senate held a press conference tomorrow to declare that the territorial integrity of the United States is more important than the territorial integrity of Ukraine, this couldn't continue. The lunacy would end. But they're not doing that. Instead, Republicans are every bit as hysterical about Russia as Adam Schiff ever was. Why?
So we do need to go ahead and impose sanctions on Russia now. We need to show them that
Look at this alien. She's an alien on this side.
Do you think President Joe Biden should send U.S. troops to Eastern Europe?
Without delay.
It appears to me that the administration is moving in the right direction.
There needs to be clear consequences for what they do,
This nigga.
because we failed to deter, and now you're inviting conflict. It's a very bad situation, and we've left ourselves without many options as a result.
I don't think we're providing the deterrence necessary to stop Putin from invading Ukraine.
As Putin tries to dismantle NATO and divide NATO, I support President Biden's decision to send more troops in to reinforce NATO.
See? Every time. It's a new war now. Because of the debt. The debt got worse because of the pandemic.
They are doing something you may not notice at first. They're attacking Joe Biden for being weak. His weakness is inviting aggression. And on the basis of that, they are in fact agreeing with Biden in supporting his Russia policy. Got that? We're against Biden. That's why we're backing him up in his Russia policy. Pretty clever. Is that what Republican voters want? Let's see. If you ask them, they'd probably say, well, why don't we send as much military equipment to the Texas border as we've sent to the Russian border? If someone said that out loud, then maybe the entire country could assess how grotesque Washington's priorities are. Speaking of grotesque priorities, Senator John Cornyn represents Texas, has for a long time. Texas is a state that's had well over 1 million foreign nationals pour into it illegally over the last year, right over the border. That's a far bigger invasion than anything Vladimir Putin is planning in Ukraine. And yet when John Cornyn...
So now, he's considering that an invasion because they're migrating from Texas and not Mexico. So you're open for them to come from Mexico but not Texas? And now you're shipping them to Commonwealth states and you brought them to Westchester, New York to be new workers and new students so you could get $3,500 or $35,000 in tuition.
About border security. He's
See how
not
they
talking
word
about
stuff?
his state or even his own country. He's talking about Ukrainian border security. Why?
Make no mistake, an attack on Ukraine is also an attack on America's global security interests and on world peace, and could have cascading consequences that right now are too horrible to contemplate. This is an existential threat.
White people as a race, they messed up. The United States of America is in too much danger now.
To our way of life and the way of life of
They tried to call it the Chinese flu because they owe China so much money. So now the best way not to pay him back is to start a war.
democracies around the world.
Freedom-loving democracies around the world. Now, these are people who sit in committee meetings, often with closed doors. What are they doing? Well, they're apparently sick of the intel agencies and anyone who criticizes them. But are they getting unfiltered information from those intel agencies? Are they making wise decisions on the basis of it? Do they have any idea what they're talking about, including the man you just saw? No, of course not. They cloak their ignorance in the usual cliches, freedom-loving democracies like Ukraine. But the truth is, their interests, their beliefs are so far out of alignment with the interests and beliefs of the average person in this country, including their own voters, that once that is exposed to light, they're in trouble.
The voters don't matter.
Last point.
They do whatever they
This
want.
is only happening because there is no credible opposition to it in the Congress. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click